Early on, very few invaders, very few free settlers would come to Australia as they had to fund their own way there. This meant that only the wealthy really accepted the early offers for a better life. Most free settlers came as farmers, but some weren't. Some were doctors or military officers, or the like. Even with the government grant and convict labour lightening the load, life was still severe for free settlers in the colonies. Farmers and pastoralists had to endure droughts, floods, and resist attacks from the sovereign indigenous peoples. Life was really hard for the invaders. Wait, hang on. The early settlers of Australia. They came from buildings, roads, shops, and hospitals to here. Here! All of a sudden, they are in a strange new world where they have to compete with wildlife. Unless the deer or foxes got a little bit antsy, there really wasn't a whole lot to worry about back home. When they arrived in Australia, they were faced with this nation's famously dangerous fauna. They had come from redcoats to redbacks, from King George to King Brown, from Great Britain to, geez, whatever that is. And the strangest plants that soak up all the water around them. The dry earth was not as hospitable as they were hoping. Soil was poor and the climate was dry and hot. Beyond this, the invaders had to, the settlers were worried about being attacked by the indigenous peoples trying to protect their land. You know what? We'll do that in a few weeks. Early harvests failed, big time, but they persisted. Eventually, they began to utilise land efficiently, discovering how to adapt to a completely new ecosystem. After serving 7 or 14 years sentences, the convicts would be freed as settlers. Convicts that were freed because of good behaviour were called emancipists. Remember that word, right? Many ex-convicts were given grants to start on a piece of land and in the hopes that they would become self-reliant if they could grow their own food. Now, I know what you're thinking though. Mr. Wiley, if you can't even control us year nines, then how did the convicts stay in line? Great question, Tom Baird. Brilliant question. The Governor established the New South Wales Corps. The New South Wales Corps were the second largest group of British settlers in the colony. They warded off Indigenous attacks, kept convicts in line, and in return were given a wage and a hefty share of rations and land for themselves. Now, Governor Lachlan Macquarie, that we're going to get onto in the next lesson, he greatly improved the way of life for British settlers. Macquarie, with help from convict labour and his army, the 73rd Regiment, developed roads and encouraged exploration and building, etc. Convicts were forced to go to church, a day off, and he introduced a program to teach the Aboriginal people to be farmers. From then on, the colony pressed ever inland in search of a future.